We're at the scene of the country's latest murder, the sixth in the space of a week. And later in sports, the 2014 National Family Island Regatta champions have been crowned. The Bahamas Tonight starts now.
Now in HD. Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This portion of the news brought to you by BTC Everyday.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news, the country's murder count has climbed again as a man is shot and killed here in the capital. Candino Knowles has more tonight on the fatal shooting which took place early this morning, the sixth in the space of a week.
Officers, as seen here, are processing the latest crime scene as another young man lay lifeless in the streets of New Providence, the victim of an early Sunday morning shooting. The culprit, police say, is an unidentified male. Officer in charge of the Central Detective Unit, Superintendent Paul Roll, was first on the scene after police were alerted to the piercing sounds of gunshots at the rear of a home on Gibbs Corner off East Street.
Our preliminary investigation reveals that this male was sitting in an alley just behind the house on Gibbs Corner when he was confronted by a lone male who discharged several shots in his direction. This victim was struck multiple times to the stomach and chest area. EMS also responded to the scene and pronounced the male lifeless.
Police say the gunman got away on foot while the victim ran to the front of the house where he is said to have collapsed. Police say they have no motive at this time, but investigations continue. This latest incident follows the shooting of a man on Cordo Avenue and Palm Beach Street Friday night. Up to now, there's been no word on the victim's age or identity. This latest murder also marks the sixth in just under a week. In the meantime, officers are once again depending purely on members of the public to help solve these two latest crimes.
We appeal to persons who may have any information with this latest homicide to reach out to the police and help us to bring some resolution to this as soon as possible.
Candino Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Meanwhile, a 21-year-old woman is in hospital tonight after being shot while sleeping in her Millennium Gardens home around 2:30 this morning. Officers say once they arrived, they found the woman suffering from multiple gunshot injuries. The victim was rushed to hospital where she's said to be in critical condition tonight. Police say they have no motive for this shooting and they've launched an intense investigation. Police also need your help in solving separate armed robberies from overnight. In the first incident, police report a woman was on Key West Street just after 8 o'clock when a man armed with a handgun stole her silver Nissan Skyline vehicle and sped off. About an hour later, police say a group of women were attending a family gathering on Gladstone Road when a man armed with a handgun robbed them of personal items before fleeing on foot. Officers are appealing to anyone with information on these cases to come forward. A search is underway for a man who reportedly went missing from a cruise ship during a voyage between the Bahamas and Florida. A U.S. Coast Guard spokeswoman said the passenger apparently went overboard early Sunday in waters about 27 miles east of Florida's Delray Beach after the vessel left Grand Bahama. He was reported missing from the ship Bahamas Celebration at about 2 a.m. An intensive investigation is underway. The Bahamas Celebration is a six-deck, 1,200-passenger ship which offers two-night cruises to the Bahamas from Florida. In other news today, residents on Eleuthera will soon have access to better health care facilities as the government is preparing to build a new hospital in Palmetto Point. Prime Minister Perry Christie, who talked about the proposed facility during last week's Eleuthera Business Outlook, said it'll go a long way in serving and supporting the health care needs of the community. In fact, the Prime Minister confirmed the land has already been acquired, with plans being drawn up for a facility which will meet international standards.
When I got involved in this, and I saw that the land that we were going to could be flooded for hospital and hurricane, I looked for the center of the island and for a place where it was above. I also decided it wouldn't be negotiated. It would be done by public acquisition. And public acquisition is where you have to publish the notice of intention to do it, call the names of the people you would get it from, and you have to publish the fact that you're doing it, and so forth and so on, and that's how it's being done. I expect all of this to be on a fast-forward basis, moving forward, and I expect that after the politics, the people of Illustra will have a facility they can go to that gives them up to minor surgical interventions, the x-ray facilities, etc., and so forth and so on.
Foreign Affairs and Immigration Minister the Honorable Fred Mitchell held a press conference this afternoon to respond to comments made by the Member of Parliament for St. Anne's, Hubert Chipman, last week. Mr. Chipman commented on Minister Mitchell's announcement of sending diplomatic notes to the governments of Malaysia, China, and the U.S. for remarks made by Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis when he likened the Christie administration to the missing Malaysia Airlines flight.
The issue is whether or not the remarks of the leader of the opposition were appropriate. That's the issue here, not me and what the government did after that. Surely, on the substantive point, the opposition does not object to expressing our concern about the loss of life to our international friends. And one of the things we have to always be concerned about is the image of our country, not to be spinning foolishness around and saying irresponsible things.
Today marks 49 years since Black Tuesday, one of the most historic events on the calendar. On April 27, 1965, Progressive Liberal Party council members and their Member of Parliament led a public demonstration to protest the boundaries which were being proposed by the United Bahamian Party government. The protest culminated in the act of civil disobedience by the former Prime Minister, the late Sir Lyndon Pinling. Member of Parliament for Fox Hill and Foreign Affairs Minister Fred Mitchell spoke with ZNS News about the historic event, which he characterizes as one of the more defining moments in the majority rule thrust.
I would only want to pay tribute to all those men and women who planned and executed it. Amongst those who are still alive are Sir Arthur Folkes, the former Governor General, the Honorable Arthur Hanna, and Ms. Effie Walks, who was I guess the lone female in the council at the time in planning the event. And of course we can't forget Sir Lyndon paid tribute to the late Ina Hepburn, who sat down in the streets. He remembers her in a white outfit, sat down on the streets with him in the public square after they came out of the house. So to all of those people, many of them nameless, we thank them for their courage.
Well, ZNS Television is also commemorating the event. You can tune in to the ZNS Television network at 10 o'clock tonight for Black Tuesday, The Turning Point, with our Beverly Curry. Well, stay tuned when the weekend edition continues. Bahamas National Trust officials cleaning up Harold and Wilson ponds. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.